Hello everyone, my name is Tom and welcome to Pop's Devotions. We're on day 8 of our 15 days of devotions in Jonah. Before we get started, why don't you hit pause, open your Bible or app to Jonah chapter 2. Pray and ask God to help you hear what He has to say to you today and read all of Jonah chapter 2. Why don't you hit pause and do that right now? I'll be here when you get back. All right, welcome back. Let's get started. Today we're focusing on Jonah chapter 2, verses 5 to 7. Here are some things to consider. Have you ever heard the phrase, there are no atheists in foxholes? It doesn't mean that all foxes believe in God. Of course, that could be true. I just don't know many foxes, so it's hard for me to assess their faith. Foxholes, apart from being the place where foxes live, are also the small holes that soldiers dig to fire from and shelter from the enemy. The phrase means that when you're in one of those holes, sheltering for your life, in danger of dying at any moment, whatever beliefs you may have had about the non-existence of God go out the window as you cry out to Him to save you. The question I have about Jonah's prayer is whether this is what's going on for him. Obviously, he wasn't an atheist. This is clear because there weren't that many atheists in ancient times, but also because if he were an atheist, he wouldn't run from a God he didn't believe existed. But was Jonah experiencing a near-death conversion? And if he was, doesn't matter. Jonah thought he was going to die. Not only had he been accosted in the face by seaweed is gross at the best of times, but he had sunk to the roots of the mountains, the place where the tall mountains meet the ocean floor. He had gone to the pit of death and the gates had been locked behind him. He's speaking metaphorically, there aren't actual gates as far as I know. It was only when his life was ebbing away that he remembered God. Only on the brink of death did he decide that it was a good time to pray. If Jonah was a committed follower of God, he would have been praying the whole way through. What right does he even have to pray? If he ran away from God before, why does he think God will listen when he cries out now? But despite Jonah's dubious motivation, his prayer rose to God's holy temple. That is, God heard him and responded. Have you ever felt like you couldn't talk to God because you were in a mess of your own making? Perhaps you have been living in a way you knew God wouldn't have been pleased with, so you didn't feel like your prayer would be appropriate or make any difference to God. I know when I have sinned against God, I often don't want to pray because I don't feel worthy of talking to Him. Why should He listen to me? But fantastically, just as God listened to Jonah, we can call out to God at any time, in any situation, and He will listen to us and respond. He doesn't just listen to the obedient people or the faithful people. He'll hear anyone's prayer. When Jesus was on the cross, we see this in action. As He was dying between two criminals, one of them mocked Him, but the other defended Jesus. We read about this in the book of Luke. "Don't you fear God," He said, "since you are under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then He said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus answered him, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." That's Luke 23, 40 to 43. Jesus could easily have said to the man, "Bit late for you, buddy. You should have thought about this earlier." But even though the criminal was dying after a life of rebellion, it was not too late for his request to be heard or to find salvation. I don't know where you're at with God or where you'll be. But if you're feeling overwhelmed by circumstances of your own making, call out to God. Even if you are at the gates of death, your prayers can rise to God's holy temple. Here's something to reflect on. When have you felt like God might not listen to your prayer? How does the story of Jonah change how you can view those situations? Here's something you could do. Next time you don't think that you can talk to God, remember Jonah and that God will always listen to your prayer. And now, a prayer to pray. Merciful God, thank you that you will hear my prayers even if I do not feel worthy of speaking to you. Thank you that Jesus makes me worthy and your Spirit intercedes for me that my prayers might be heard. Well, that's the end of the devotion for today. I will see you tomorrow. If this has been helpful, feel free to recommend it to your friends. They can sign up for our daily emails and start from day one at tomfrench.com.au devotions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can know as soon as a new video comes out. That's it from me. I'll see you tomorrow for more Pops Devotions.